Do you subscribe to the dress rehearsal mantra of the third preseason game?
Angry, man. Yeah, I do, to a degree. I think it's very important that, players, coaches, everyone, we are creatures of habit, and preseasons, we're all over the place, but you want them to get in that routine to where all 7 days are kind of this Groundhog Day over and over. So you want them to know what they're going to expect week one. So we try to go through that routine. But there's also things that, today is I believe our 16th practice. We want more. We can't just sit here and totally focus on Indy and everything. We got to worry about ourselves a lot more than you normally would in a regular week. So we got to do things that help us, not just worry about the rehearsal.
Is keeping 4 running backs a possibility?
Yeah, definitely is a possibility. Going extra to number of positions is a possibility. We definitely think there's definitely 4 running backs on our roster that we like. But we have that at a lot of positions and stuff, and that's why it's going to be tough to get to this 53.
Kyle, as they weed things out, are you sure what a legal tackle is right now?
That's the hard thing. It's not. I know what I think is a legal tackle, and then I know what the new rule articulates with the words. So then it makes it hard to figure out how much we're following that exactly and how much we're not. So I think that's what everyone's in between trying to figure out, and I don't think people know that exactly yet.
You're still kind of feeling it out during this exhibition season right now, the evaluation of the officials and what gets called and what doesn't get called.
Yep. Yeah, I think we all know the language and how to read it and what it says, and then we're all seeing how it's being called, and we're all still figuring out what it's going to be.
Do you have any personal thoughts on the pros and cons of the rule and just how it gets enforced and what it means to the big picture of the game?
I think I will eventually, but I think everyone knows it's an issue right now, and I'm hoping that people get figured out.
What's the C.J. Beathard update?
CJ's not practicing today. He definitely is trying to, but he does have a foot sprain, so we're resting him. We think it'll help him for tomorrow, and we'll see how he comes in tomorrow. And he's day to day as of now.
Is Sullivan Thomas still in the concussion protocol?
Yes, him and Gilliam are both in the same stage. They've been cleared to have no contact, but they can go out there and do individual and stuff as long as they're out of contact. And if they pass that stuff today, hopefully they can take the next step tomorrow.
What's been your impression of the team's pass blocking through the first 2 preseason games?
Up and down. Our starters. I think we did a fairly good job with the ones in there. I don't remember too many hits Jimmy's had. I think the 2s and 3s, it's been both. We haven't been perfect by any means, but in terms of the preseason, I've been happy with it, relatively speaking.
Would you be hesitant to play CJ Saturday then if he's not practicing this week? And
no, I wouldn't. I would never be hesitant to play him if he didn't practice. But I would be if he couldn't protect himself or it could threaten him after. I want CJ to get as many reps as we think is smart, because you're hoping he doesn't get many in the season.
Is your plan then to have Jimmy just go kind of into the second quarter and then turn it over?
Yeah, usually in the third preseason game, you try to keep your ones out there for a whole half. That's our standard philosophy. We'll see how our guys are. We'll see how the game goes, and it could be less than a half. It could be into the third quarter. So we'll see.
What have you seen out of Nick in these two exhibitions and how well he's performed?
I think he's done what everyone's expected him to do. I think he's been very similar in the games as he's been in practice. Nick's a good football player, and when he's had his opportunities, he's shown the game's not too big for him, and it's similar how he looks in practice each day also.
What was the transition like for him, college to NFL, just the difference in systems? It seemed like it was pretty steep.
Yes, I think he learned a lot more in terms of that he had to. I think they were more spread system. He was doing a lot of spread out stuff he was running the zone read and things and throwing bubbles a lot. And so there's just, that's not a huge part of your offense. There's just a lot more stuff to learn to go into it. And Nick is a very smart person who works at everything. And so I think he enjoyed it all because, it's fun when you get to learn stuff. But the more he learns, the better he gets. And he's a very A-type personality who is going to learn everything inside and out, and that's what's given him a chance to succeed in this league.
How would you evaluate the pass rush so far in camp, and what are you looking for here in the last few weeks before the season starts?
I always want it to get better. I wish the quarterback got hit every single play on the other team. makes everyone's job a lot easier. So we're going to always challenge that. We're never going to be satisfied with it, and I hope it can get improved this week and next week. But the main thing is I hope it's getting better in the season.
Why is a fullback so important in your offense?
Just because I feel like when a fullback's in there, you have if you want to run the ball, you can, and the defense knows that. Even if they want to do certain things, you have the right type of blockers and the numbers to where you can dictate how the game goes. And I think defenses know that, so it limits a lot of the stuff they do. The negative can be, but you have a fullback in all the time, and they know you're in two-back all the time, that there's only a couple eligibles they have to worry about, so it's a lot easier to cover people. But that's what's the advantage with someone like ours, that just because our fullback's in, you don't know whether we're in two-back or one-back, which I think puts pressure on defenses.
How has Kyle kind of progressed since he's been here? Has there been a feeling out for you two in ways that you are more comfortable using him than you were initially?
I think Kyle's been better than I hoped for. It's Kyle was someone we were going to get. We thought he was the best fullback in the league, and we were going to go get whatever that market dictated. And I know we had to compete with a few other teams, but we thought he was going to be very important. And that doesn't mean that you just go do that always. There's not many fullbacks like that. But you adjust to what you think you can get and what your personnel is. And getting Kyle here, it's been everything we hoped for. I think some people thought maybe he was going to lead the team in stats and things like that. And if he wouldn't be a fullback. He would be treated as a second halfback or the second tight end. He is a fullback, which makes, because he's a very good blocker, which makes defenses honor that. But the versatility, how smart he is, that he can go out and catch passes and he can line up anywhere without a ton of reps, that allows us to do anything we want out of two fullbacks or out of two backs.
A lot of teams run outside zone without a fullback. What does the fullback add to that play in particular?
If you run outside zone without a fullback, you can't stop a pressure. You can't stop a strong safety blitz. You can't stop it when they bring more than you can block. Now you got to bring the receivers all into it and put them on certain people. And when a fullback's in the game, the receivers can stay out wide and stay on the corners, and the fullback can take care of the safeties.
Selleck has survived a lot of turnover around here. What are the qualities he has that they afford him the head coach to say, I want you?
I think it starts with, he's a good player. I remember studying him a few years ago when we thought he was going to be a free agent, and he was someone I wanted to target when we were at Atlanta. And I think he ended up signing here before he became a free agent. His tape's always been good. He's got a skill set. He's got size. He can block. He can do most of the routes. And then the type of guy he is. He's smart enough to learn any scheme. He's reliable. Doesn't mess up very much. And it always starts with the talent, but then it goes to the person. And he's the guy you know what you're going to get every single day.
Are there nuances that make Trent Taylor's game different from Richie James' game?
So
just being slot receivers that are small and quick.
Yeah, you can go to like weight and strength or 40 times and things like that to go over the slight differences and stuff. But they're used very similar ways. I think you look at them both as slot receivers, but I do think both of them have the ability to do other stuff, which makes them versatile. But we got other guys to do some other stuff too, so it all just depends on how it plays out for our whole group and who makes the team, who's up. There's lots of different skill sets that we can use, and that's what I've been happy with our group, that we got a lot of guys that you can do different things with, but that's what makes it a real hard decision.
Coming back to the helmet rule, that's a very controversial topic right now. Do you feel it's taking away focus from the actual sport in any way?
I don't know. That depends what everyone's focusing on outside of here. So I don't think I'm the right person to answer that question. But I know it's an issue. Everyone does. So
There was a report back when free agency began from the NFL Network about you guys possibly wanting Eric Reid on a one-year minimum deal. Was that true? And is that deal still on? Is that offer still on the table? Is that something you're still thinking about at this point as we get ready for the regular season?
Yeah, I think I said what I said then, and I say forever. Any really good player wants to come in here on a minimum deal, and have a good player to be a backup. That'd be unbelievable. I don't think that's what Eric wants. I told you the reason we decided to go that direction is because we made a tough decision, but we had to do it, and we went with Tart. We thought that was the right way to go, and you can't give a lot of money to backups, and that's what he would be if he came here. But I like Eric. Eric's a good player. He's a good person, and that would be great if we could have him in that role. I don't think he would be that interested in it.
Going back to Atlanta from a few questions ago, how much of the success that you had there has sort of created a baseline for what you're trying to build here now that we're a little bit further down the tracks in this?
Not much. I mean, I've been enough places and had to do a bunch of different things to where I don't look at it that way. There's so many different ways you can do things, and you look at your team when you get somewhere, you look at what's available in free agency, draft, and trades, and then you figure out what your final 53 is, and then you think of how people separate, to run the ball, what your quarterback's good at, and you just do the best you can to help those guys out. So there's no like, all right, we got to get this guy to look like that guy. There's always preferences, and one day we're going to have 10 Julio Jones out there and one great quarterback throwing it to him. But that's never going to happen. So you balance it out, and you try to make the best of what you got, and you try to get the best skill sets that are available.
On Saturday, was that the best that DJ Jones had looked to you out of practice or a game in his year plus?
I know he made a lot of plays out there. I think DJ's had times like that. I think he had times like that last year. I think he's had times like that this year. I think it's been mainly in practice. I think guys go up and down throughout camp as they come out fresh and in shape, and they get worn down a little bit. And I think everyone goes through that fluctuation throughout camp. I thought DJ started to get his legs back a lot more, showed up, had a good week of practice, did well in the game, and I'm excited to see if he's going to be better or worse this week.
He's lighter. Has he been able to maintain? I know he's really strong. Has he been able to maintain that strength on film?
Yeah, I haven't noticed him getting, when you're lighter, that, if you see a guy getting pushed around more and stuff, then obviously it was a disadvantage. But usually when guys just focus on eating right, lifting and working as hard as they can and being in shape, usually, yeah, you get lighter, but that's the way you're supposed to be. And now you're more athletic, you're actually stronger, you're more powerful, you can move your feet better. Not always that number going down doesn't mean you really got smaller. Is kind of how, if that makes sense. It means that's the healthiest and most powerful you can be. As that number goes down and now you can't, you don't have the same strength, now to me you've gotten too light. But I haven't seen that with DJ. It's improved him.
A lot of people talk about fullback being a dying position. There's a long history of it here. Does it mean something to you to add to that history, to uphold that history?
No, that stuff never means anything to me. I respect history a lot, and I respect football a ton, but I'm just trying to do whatever we think is his best chance to win, and I think a fullback helps. And I always would like to have a fullback on the roster. If you can't find one that you think is great, well, then we'll do something else. It's not like, no, we have to do this. It's, you do stuff because you think it helps. People always want to say, like, our offense is running bootlegs and stuff. No, we run bootlegs if the defense is playing the run a certain way. There'll be games that we don't do it. There's no absolutes. You just try to understand the best way to help people be successful, and you just try to do it.
Kyle, as far as last week, was that just too quick a turnaround for Alfred Morris, and would you anticipate?
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to go, and we could have thrown him in, but there's only so many handouts you can give people. He had 2 practices this year. And if it would have played out differently, we would have put him in. But we wanted to take a look at the other guys. I thought we gave Jeremy a real good look. I think Alf is a little more ready this week, which is fair to him. And I plan on him getting more looks this week than he did last week.
All right. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.